There we go. Okay, I'm good to go, guys. Today in the grid, we're talking about setting goals for your photography in 2022. Joining me, as always, is the real man, the can of ham. He's from Vietnam. He likes Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's the real rocket man, Erik Kuna. We've got some news, we got some super cool prizes, and it all starts in just 23.8 seconds. Let's go!
The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Well, welcome everybody and Happy New Year. Welcome to our first Grid episode of the year. Scott Kelby here, and Skyping in is the real man, the can of ham. I'm surprised you let me get away with can of ham for as long as I have. Anyway, it's the real rocket man, Mr. Erik Kuna. How you doing, Mr. K?
Great. Well, you said I was from Vietnam, and I'll tell you, since I remember talking to David Zeiser about that years ago, and I really want to get over to there because
I know, me
sounds
too.
Awesome.
Yeah, my buddy Jeff Ravel went there, and he loved it. He went to Cambodia, and of course went to Angkor Wat and all that stuff. And I want to go while you can still go. I got to adjust my hat a little bit there. There we go. To adjust myself. Now that I can see myself on screen, I have to kind of adjust myself. Okay. Anyway, good to see you, Mr. K. Glad you're here.
Great to see you.
We have an interesting topic today. So it's the first show of the year, and we very often, historically, in the 9+ years of the Grid, start off the year with giving you some ideas and some goals. And so we want to, of course, hear yours as well. So just leave us a comment, in the comments, which I'm pointing to them over there because that's where I see the comments. They're over there. But anyway, if you'd like to leave us some comments, we'd love to hear what your goals are, and we're going to share some ideas. So if you're like, what should I do this year? I've got some ideas. So does Erik. We both have some ideas that we hope will help, you chart a course, because it's just like anything. If you want to build a house, you have to have a set of plans. Without the plans, at the end of the year, you're going to go, my house doesn't look very good. So we're going to give you some foundation here to kind of kick you off. We do have lots of giveaways today, because we always do, because we're loose with money. And it's certainly our sponsors are. So we're giving away a Platypod twin pack. That's this bad boy right here. It's 2 Platypods and the extenders here. Oh, hi. We have those for you. And they're lovely. They're the commercial twin pack right there. We're also giving away a really terrific book from our dear friend, Rick Salmon. So we're giving away How to Make Money While You're Sleeping, which is the runaway bestseller of 2021. And now we're taking it into 2022. So we're giving away a hard copy of that. We are giving away an ebook copy of my travel photography book. Would you like to hear a sad story about my travel photography book? May I?
Yes. Let's hear it.
All right. So it was. I wrote this book and turned it in months and months ago. It was supposed to be out for the holidays. And because of printing issues and paper supply and blah, 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 the printing company that had signed a contract with my publisher that said it will be ready in November missed the November date. They missed the December date. The hardcover, the paperback, the printed version was going to be available in January. Now it's March, first week of March. They delivered the print job, and the paper that they printed it on messed up the print job, and it looked like it was done on a copier. And my publisher didn't even send me a proof. They said, Scott, we wouldn't even send it to you. It was so bad. Because when you do a book on photography, the printing has to be good. The photos have to look good. We're visual people. And they know I wouldn't accept it. And they said it was so bad we didn't even send it to you. And so, unfortunately, it's not, the printed version's not going to be out. It says January 25th. Don't go. Now, the Kindle version is available right now. You can go get the Kindle version right now. It is available. You can buy with one click, and it's even cheaper than the other one. So anyway, you can get, if you're going to be doing some traveling, which I hope that we are. I know I'm planning to go to Prague and do a workshop there in May, first week of May. So if you're planning on doing traveling, I put my heart and soul in that book. I cannot wait to get the printed version out there, because that's the one that most folks get. But anyway, if you want it and you want to get it now, you've got those Amazon gift cards you got for Christmas and for the holidays. Now's the time to go and get one. So just go get it, and you can get it right there and read it on your iPad or your tablet or whatever. Anyway, but we're giving a copy of the ebook away today, and we're giving a printed copy of my Lightroom 7-point system, also available on Amazon for those Amazon gift cards that you're wondering, what should I do with my Amazon gift cards? If you're wondering, that's what to do. Okay, all right. What else are we giving away? We are giving away a copy of Boris Effects Optics, which is an amazing plugin or special effects plugin for Photoshop and Lightroom. It's amazing, incredible, and you've seen us talk about it and done demos and stuff. It's great. We're also giving away ON1's No Noise, the speed leader in noise reduction, and that's it. Now, all you have to do to have a chance to enter, tell them, Mr. Kuna, what they do.
Yeah, all they got to do is really easy. All they got to do is go into the comments, leave us a comment, tell us what they'd like to win, and then we'll pick a winner at the end of the show. Also in the comments, just if you have any questions, if you have any comments about the show, leave them in the comments. But definitely give us a comment, tell us what you want to win, and you'll be entered.
All right.
There you go.
Okay, so that's where we are. So today, let's just jump right in. I've got some, and I know Erik has some. Now, some of these things you will have heard us talk about during this past year, but I'm guessing that you probably didn't catch every single episode of The Grid. I'm not sure I did. But just in case, so there will be a couple of things that you heard. And one of them, and this is one that I would definitely put on your list. I would definitely put on your list to enter a photography contest this year. Even if you just
that's
do
on my
one,
list.
right? Enter a photography contest. Look at Mr. Kuna, who entered his first contest and won first place. And not only that, but he got the cover of the magazine that he entered. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff, right? My buddy Paul, I tell Paul, you're going to Photoshop World. You got to enter the guru. Oh, I don't know. He won. He won a freaking guru in his category. So you got to enter. There's no way for you to win if you don't enter. And by the way, you might think, I don't know if I would win. Here, I have sat on the panel of so many contests over the years. International contests, local contests, of course, the Photoshop World contest, though I reclused myself from the category that my buddy was in. But anyway, you never know what the judges are going to react to. You just don't know. I've been in rooms where I'm outvoted 10-1, where everyone loves this picture, and I'm like, that's not usually the case, but because usually it's a consensus, like everybody's like, oh yeah, but you'd be surprised. There's no way for you to know, because here's the thing, and I want to tell you about why this should be on your goals for 2022. If you don't win, they don't send you a nasty letter to tell you why you don't win. They send you a really nice letter that says, sorry, or you don't hear from them at all. It's just, but they'll say, thank you so much for entering. We really appreciate it. Unfortunately, your work wasn't chosen as a winner by the judges, but would love to have you enter again. Our next competition starts on this date. Here's a link to submit. They're not going to critique your work. They're not going to tell you it's bad. It will be a completely silent situation unless you win. You have nothing to lose. There's no downside. There's no one that's going to say anything bad about your photography. And I do think that there are people that are concerned about entering a contest because they're afraid of their rejection level. You're not going to get a rejection letter that discusses your work. It's just they send out a bulk email that reads the same to everybody that says, thank you for entering. You didn't make the finals, but thanks anyway. And it goes, the same letter goes to everybody. So I would put that one at the top of your list and do it early. Here's why. I'll bet you that Mr. Kuna either has or is planning on entering another contest, because once you enter a contest and you win, then all of a sudden you want to be entering contests left and right. Now, I entered a bunch of contests at the end of the year that none of them, it's amazing how far out they go. Like the winners are announced in April, and you're like, but it's November, So I entered a number of contests, and let me do it this way. If I don't win, I won't hear anything bad, and you won't hear either. Nobody will know. You don't know what contests I've entered, but I did. I entered some contests. I won a couple last year, so I'm going to try a few more. But do it early so that success breeds success. Once you win one, then you're like, okay, I got a good image here. And you don't have to have 100 images. Now, I did enter some where you had to have a gallery of work, like you needed to have 12 body of work. Thank you. I had to enter 12 photos or something that are cohesive, not 12 photos where one's a bird and one's a landscape and one's an old barn and one's an architecture and one's a person, and they're like, I want a cohesive body of work. And I did that as well. But again, I won't hear. And you know what? I lose track of what contests I've entered. And then all of a sudden you get, hey, you won. You're like, in both cases, I learned that I won just by looking at, like, they said the winners were announced of this contest. I didn't even know I'd entered. I'm like, oh, let's go look. Oh, I won. I forgot. Whoa, that's my picture. That's me. It was crazy. All right, Mr. Kuna. That's mine. I know that was on your list too. So
yes, that was on my list, and right below that is on my list is if you're not already doing it, is to focus on in 2022 printing your work. Actually printing your work. Yeah, yes. I know it was probably gonna be on yours too. But I will say that, like, I've noticed this coming alive. So my daughter for Christmas got a personal photo printer. And these things have come such a long way. But she got this Canon personal photo printer, and I'm telling you, it's amazing to see her reaction to her own just cell phone images that she creates, because she's got a good eye and she could create stuff, and then, like, she'll print it. But when she prints them out, it's different. It's the reaction's different when you print it out. And doing that for yourself or for your work, especially as a photographer, it makes you a better photographer, because you start really being able to see your work come alive. And that's just there's something about the print. It's also, it shows you where you need to improve in your work and where you are improving in your work, because you can actually see it over time. So definitely one of the things I would say for somebody in 2022 is start printing their work.
So Erik, is it the Canon IV Mini photo printer? Is it like about this big?
Yeah, it prints 4x6s, which is really cool.
Oh, I don't think this one does that. Because this is only $99. This one does 2x3s.
Well, there's one that does 4x6s. I'm telling you, Scott, this thing is just as good as a lab. I mean, it was incredible, because I've, over the years, you print at home and you're like, it's good, but like,
this is it. Is it the?
Yes,
is that it?
Holy moly, that thing prints great stuff,
dude. It's only $129.
Yeah,
Erik spills more out of his wallet in the morning when he's getting dressed than $129.
It was cool. Like, it has a battery with it too, so she can take it anywhere she wants and all that. And it's just cool. Like, she can just print out photos, hang them up in her room. But again, for even a photographer, like, obviously you can get other printers and stuff like that. But it's just
4x6.
4x6s, and they're incredible. I mean, they look just as good as if we go to a lab.
Like if you go to CVS or Walgreens.
Yep.
All right. Wow. Crazy. Wow, that's great. That makes me want to get one.
It really is cool.
Lots
of
cool big printers.
For families too. If you have, like, families, just, getting the images to come alive. So.
Wow. All right. Wow, that's great. Because I was going to talk about printing too, and that was definitely on my list. Is just start making prints. But this is really important, and we're going to take a break. We have to take a break. But when we come back, I want to say one more thing about why what Erik showed you here, this 4x6 thing, is more important than you might first realize. Stick around. We have more ideas and concepts. And of course, we want to hear your comments. And I see lots of people tuning in from all over the world saying hi today. So very, very happy to hear that. Thanks for the comments also that are coming in. And we'll see you in just a minute. Don't go away.
Guys, Adobe just announced, I am not kidding, a groundbreaking update to Lightroom and Camera Raw, and it's across all the Lightrooms, whether it's classic or cloud or mobile or whatever. Crazy stuff that they did with the masking. Amazing, wonderful, changes everything, because they took some of the AI stuff and the machine learning stuff and the amazing, crazy Photoshop stuff, and they put it in Lightroom. And guys, I'm telling you, this is game-changing, mind-blowing, crazy stuff. You're going to be able to work faster and more efficiently and do things you never thought you would do in Lightroom. They have done an amazing job with this. I'm telling you, this is absolutely awesome. And I put together a class, and it's a short class. It's not a big long one. It's a short one. And when you're done with this class, you're going to totally get it. You're going to know it all, and you're going to be able to apply it to your work right away. It's going to change your game. You're going to love it. You're going to have a blast with it. And I cover it all in my brand new class. So come check out my brand new class on all the cool new Lightroom masking features over at kelby1.com.
Do you want to make your images look more interesting? Well, that all comes with creative lighting. In my course, we will talk about different ways to modify light. We're going to block light. We're going to play with shadows, and we're going to paint with light. Super fun. These are all techniques that'll help you mold and craft your lights so that you can have more striking and dynamic images. Come join me in my class about creative lighting here at kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey, we're back. Scott and Erik is here. I was just looking up on Amazon to see if it was cheaper on Amazon. It's not. It's the same price. So anyway, I do want to give some shout outs. We have people coming, shouting in from all over the world. Barbara says hi from Yolo County, California. David's here from Sweden. Glenna is here from a wet North Carolina. Frankly says Happy New Year from Germany. Becky says hi from Goodyear, Arizona. Turgay is here from a very hot Zambia. Glad to have you here. Henrik is here from Denmark. Belinda says Happy New Year. Janice says hello from Texas. James says, how did all you cats and cadettes? Lewis says Happy New Year, Kelby One Team. Shauna says Happy New Year from a rainy New York. Dale's here from Indianola, Iowa. I've never heard of that. All right. New place. Cool. Indianola. I like it. Karen says hi from Central Kentucky, expecting some snow tomorrow. Woo! Yeah, us here in Tampa, too. Rick, it doesn't rain here ever. Rick says hi from Columbus, Ohio. And Larry D. Grace, LD Grace, the man, the legend, says Happy New Year to everyone from Peoria, Arizona. Don says hi from he says Happy New Year, Scott. Headed to Jackson Hole. Ooh, I've never been. Have you been to Jackson Hole?
No, but that is actually on my list
because you want to get a Milky Way shot with that barn, don't you?
Well, you can't get a Milky Way shot with that barn. It does not line up.
You'll make it happen. There's a program.
There's the program that'll make it happen.
All right.
If you want.
So I got some comments here. Jessica says, my goals are to regain my confidence, get comfortable with off-camera flash for portraits on location, and do more macro flower photography. Those are good goals. Yeah, those are really, really good goals. Getting comfortable with off-camera flash is great. By the way, I have a class coming out on that like this week. So, nice. Jessica, catch my new class. It's just one flash.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be a great one because that's been one of our most popular courses, and you just updated it for 2022, and it's going to be awesome. I found
easier ways to teach it, so I'm happy about that. And the macro flower photography is good, and we've got classes on that, too. We've got Melanie Kern-Favilla has got some amazing classes on flower photography on Kelby One. Not just her, but her classes.
Yeah, Jackie Kramer has.
Oh, Jackie's got very good classes. Yeah. All right. So
Hey, I got another one.
Ooh,
I got
okay.
another. So you were talking about Larry Grace there.
Yeah.
Larry won a Editor's Pick Award, and I have to give him big props on winning this for aviation because he won with a shot of the ugliest jet
Oh,
in
the crossing A10s,
Yep, the crossing A10. So when you could
Warthogs.
win a contest with a picture of an A10, you're doing great.
Yeah, because it is the ugliest plane ever flown,
Ugliest plane ever.
ever,
Coolest,
ever.
coolest, ugliest plane ever.
He's got the coolest shot of the ugliest plane. Yeah, it's a great plane. I mean, it does a great thing.
It's awesome.
But Larry's shot is geometrically perfect.
Yeah, it's like they
Man.
cross it right in front of it. It's really cool.
Hey, I did want to mention one more thing about printing, why the printing is so important. All right. So that little printer, one of the things, if you did nothing else other than just print the photos on your phone or print the photos that matter to you and stuff, the reason why I still have pictures of me as a kid is because my parents took those pictures and they literally printed them and put them in a shoebox, right? So if you put your stuff on, and this is a very real concern, if you put your images on a hard drive or on your computer and stuff, and you pass away, at some point, 3 years, 5 years down the road, the hard drive's going bad, or people don't have access to your images, they don't have your passwords, you're gone. I mean, there's so many heartbreaking stories of people that can't get to photos that a loved one did. They don't have the password, they don't have access to, or the drives are just dead. But if you make a print, if you do nothing more than get that Canon printer, make a print and put it in a shoebox, because apparently that is the storage device that lasts forever, you're guaranteed that future generations will be able to see beautiful color pictures of what it looked, the history of your life. It's the visual history of your life. So besides the photographic, like we want to make beautiful prints and it's inspiring to make beautiful prints, and you do not have to own a printer. You can send it to Bayphoto or you can send it to MPix. Those are the two labs I use. Send it to either one of those and they'll print it any size you want. Get it there in the morning, you'll have it the next day. So anyway, you got to make prints. Okay, there's some comments. Lisa has a comment about the contest thing, and she says, "Here, my first contest entered was the Guru Awards, and then I put it out of my mind and said, nah, I won't get nominated, but I did, and then I won in my category. What a powerful lesson." Thank you for sharing that, Lisa. That's great. Anna says, "I entered my first contest in November, and I won first place in the macro category. Official announcement will be this week. I'm so excited and shocked, and it's in the Wild Lens magazine." So that's the contest.
Awesome.
Wow, well done, Anna. Good to you, good to Lisa. Okay, so Edith has a question. She says, "I have a question on contests. Is there any difference between paid and free contests?" I don't think really, Edith, whether they're paid or free. And sometimes they give you some free and then you pay, like you get the first 3 free and then you pay whatever. There's all kinds of different rules. It's going to go before a team of judges, or panel of judges. They're going to look at your photos. And the difference is the prizes aren't very good for free contests.
Yeah, that's really.
You're not
that's
going to
what
get
I
a
was gonna say.
$5,000 cash prize. It's not going to be
That's
like
it,
that,
yeah.
right? So anyway, that's the difference.
And honestly, with the free contest, you're actually going to just have more people entering. But a lot of times the paid contest means that you're going to have more quality images because they're not going to enter 100 images that are just okay.
No.
You know?
And most will limit the number of images that you can. You know who was doing a really interesting thing? The Sony World Photography Awards, which is one of the most prestigious awards. An interesting note, ready? Most of the images that win the Sony Awards are taken on Canon. Like every year they show, because you don't have to.
Like the #1 camera.
I just assumed that the Sony World Photography
Mark IV.
So it's the World
that.
Photography Awards. It's sponsored by Sony, and I thought you had to send in a Sony picture. You don't know, but they did like a 50% off deal. Like you could enter 10 photos for what it costs for 5, and they're inexpensive. It's not a bunch of money there. Anyway, that was still, I think, going on maybe to the end of the year. You can go check. But all right, so Jeff's got a good comment here. He's got a 2022 goal, which is take at least one interesting picture every day and print a book with them.
That'd be a good one. That'd be a
You
great
know what the
one.
problem is, Jeff? I have a hard time taking an interesting picture every day. I have a hard enough time taking a picture every day, much less an interesting one. But that is, what a great thing that would be, have to look back at your year and remember, oh yeah, I did that, or remember that. I think that's just a wonderful idea all the way around. For me, it would be harder than you'd think. Okay, I got another one.
Okay.
All right, so we did printing. So let me get to my list here. This is a good one, and it's not a fun one, but these are goals, right?
Yeah.
Go submit your photos for copyright. Go get your photos copyrighted. Now look, the copyright laws have changed, and we just redid our copyright classes. So we had a photographer's rights attorney at Greenberg, and we had Jack Resnicki, who is a photographer's rights not evangelist. He's that other word. It's not a lobbyist. It's not an evangelist. What was that? Not an ambassador. We're close. We're getting warm. He's a guy that cares about photographers. And there's, I can't think of the word. It'll hit me. But this is the fun of being old. But anyway, it's just, and Erik, it just gets more fun and more fun.
Oh,
anyway,
sure.
but it beats the alternative. So they just did new classes on all the new rules and how to submit your work and all. Just go to Kelby 1 and watch one. They're so. First off, Jack and Ed are hilarious together. The stories are great, but they take you through the whole process. You got to protect your work. Now, that aside, there's a big, we were talking with our friend Larry, and there's a big controversy online about people talking about people ripping off their work online and stuff. And what interests me the most, Erik, and you know this, is we've talked about this, you'll see photographers up there arguing back and forth about people stealing their work. And then you look at their work and you just want to go, I don't think you have to worry about anybody stealing your work, pal.
Yeah.
That's the least of
my,
your worries.
That was on my list. So
Copyright?
along your lines was, and what I wrote down was, stop worrying about people stealing your images.
Yes.
Because people become, like, my thing is, let's flip that. Let's flip this thinking to create epic photos in 2022 that people want to steal. Because the easiest payday you will have is if somebody steals your images.
I just want it to be Walmart.
Especially if you have them copyrighted.
Yeah, I want it to be Walmart or Exxon or Amazon. I want somebody really big to steal my photos. I don't want like a dry cleaner to steal my photos. I want it to be like Apple.
Well, and you know what's funny is, you know, of all the images that I've taken and stuff like that, the ones that tend to get stolen are the photojournalism images. They're the images that are about some event that went on or something like that. And it tends to be somebody who's grabbing it for an article or something to post on an article, and it's a news outlet or something like that. And it's really easy at that point. You just say, hey, you didn't have rights to do that. Here's my invoice, and they'll send you a check because they know they've been caught. They've been caught, and they're gonna settle with you. So, I mean, at the end of the day, though, I mean, people become so consumed about their metadata and their copyright and the, you know, what's in there and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, like, just create images that people want to steal.
Yeah,
just create awesome images.
That's better.
And stop worrying about it.
That's a much better use. All right. Yeah. So there's that. And by the way, you know, I want to thank Erik for doing something. The room that he's shooting in, of course, it looks very modest, but generally he lives surrounded by gold leaf. It's very palatial looking. So I think that the fact that he took down the gold leaf and the statues and all that stuff, and the fountains, the indoor fountains, I dig that. Yeah. Hey, Bill, is this Bill? All right, Bill's got a good comment here. One of my goals this year, this is a good one. One of my goals this year is to join a photo club or a group that organizes photo trips. Nothing like learning and having fun at the same time. Yeah, I'm all for that, Bill. I mean, I do workshops myself. So, you know, it was funny. I was talking to my wife about this because, you know, I'm trying to do this Prague workshop that has been delayed for 2 years because of the pandemic, but we're finally going, and it's in May. And what's interesting is all of the people but one that signed up for it 2.5 years are still going. We're all still going, and we're very excited about it. But I was just telling my wife, you know, being able to go and do workshops like this is you meet such neat people. Like, you make friends, you spend a few days together shooting in a great place and shopping and meals and learning and getting up really early and staying up really late and everybody hanging out and all. It's such a, you know, the getting together with other photographers thing it is one of the best things about photography. Now, I know that there's people say, I'd prefer to be alone. I want to go and do a landscape, and because there's people that just don't like people. But if you like people, like I like people and Erik likes people, it's really fun to get with other photographers. It just is so much fun. Just being with a group or even a small group. I only have 12 people in my workshops, but we just, you all become friends, and it's just really nice. And I stay in touch with people that have been to my workshops, and we still talk and get on Zoom calls and stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's really awesome. And I'm so on to what he was saying about get with a group that does and travel and learning and photography all together.
So along those lines, Scott, right? So one of the things in 2022, especially people starting out in photography, I feel like, you know, they look at, say, your work, and they're looking at it and they're going, well, Scott can't take a bad image. How many bad images have you shot?
Most of my images are horrendous. Right? The vast majority.
So that's what we have.
99.9%.
Like just 2022. Just accept that part of photography is taking bad images. That's how you make great images. Is you have to focus on that quantity of images. But I think that's where I would tell people is do two things in 2022. Focus on quantity when it comes to practicing, right? You have to practice throughout 2022, and you have to make bad images to know what a good image is, right? But then when you're going to work up to, like, say, somebody that was going on your workshop, right? I hope they're taking bad images right now, so when they get out on the workshop, they're able to take great images on the thing that was planned. It was the planned event. It was a planned shoot. It was something where we're putting everything together. But don't sit here and like look for that one opportunity. The worst thing I could do in my photography would be like say, oh, I'm going to go on this Milky Way trip, but I am never going to shoot another Milky Way shot between now and then, because I got to shoot Milky Way shots that are terrible between now and then so I can get to the good ones. And that's where you got to realize that, you know, I know me, I'm like Scott, like I'm shooting terrible images all the time, you know, and that's the thing is you have to shoot those terrible images to know which images are great, you know, and that's what, like, what is it? How many hours you have to spend to master something?
Right.
Like
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours, right? You know, so like you just got to be out there shooting. So it doesn't matter if you're like with me, I'll just go out in my backyard and just start shooting different things and, you know, shooting just to figure out, you know, what I like, what I don't like, what's working, what's not working.
But you know what? But this is how we learn everything, right?
Everything.
Hold on a second. I want to show you a picture. Hold on. I'll look for it on the break. But what was I going to tell you? This is how we learn everything. It's how we learn music. It's how we learn cooking. We learn from our mistakes.
Yep.
Nobody was just born with it. We know everything about photography. We all had to learn it from someplace. And the best way to learn is trial and error. Try things, see what works, what doesn't work. And you're going to wind up taking a lot of bad photos. What do they say? What's that famous saying? Your first 10,000 photos are your worst.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So don't be afraid to do that. A great quote, I heard Joel Grimes talking about this, where he said he was doing this workshop on compositing. And, you have all the students and they're all shooting and stuff. And the guy comes up and says, hey, I'm kind of new at this, but I want to show you this composite I did. And Joel looks at it, and Joel says to the audience he's talking to, he says, it was really good. Like the guy was like, hey, this looks good. And so Joel said, you know what? You're just doing this. I got to tell you, this looks really good. Now go do that 300 more times.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? It's like we get better through practice. And if it was anything else, if it was music and I handed you a guitar, how would you get better at it? Practice. If I handed you a golf club and said, "Oh, you want to play golf? You never played before? Here." How do you get better? Going to the driving range, right? And you don't necessarily get a lot better by just playing the game. You get better by practicing the game, by practicing your putting. It's not what you do on the course, it's what you do before you get to the course. Practicing your chipping, practicing your drives at the driving range, practicing your irons, your short game, all that stuff. You do all that stuff, and then when you play the game, you enjoy the game that much more. The problem is a lot of us in photography just play the game. We go out and we go someplace and we go shooting and we come back and we're like, I'm not very happy with the results. Well, did you practice? Have you given yourself any assignments? Have you tried to get really, really good at something? Have you chosen something that you wanted to get really good at? Like, I want to get really good at panos. Did you shoot panos for a month? Did you know what I mean? It's like, what did you do? Or do you just show up and shoot a pano and you're like, yeah, it's not that great. Hey, we have to take a short pause. When we come back, we've got more things on our list and just other stuff. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Would you believe us if we told you that you could fit studio lighting in your pocket? Well, Lytra has made it possible. Lytra is a global award-winning brand that designs and manufactures professional-grade camera lights that are compact, rugged, and waterproof. Whether you're using Lytra gear in a photo studio or underwater, Lytra's mission is to provide content creators with flexible and unlimited lighting tools that can mount on any camera, anywhere. Their lights come with a high CRI or color rendering index, making them some of the most color-accurate lights in the industry. Due to the light's compact and rugged design, photographers are able to use the lights in ways that their studio lighting never could. Lytra has also made multiple lighting accessories available to fit your every need as a creator. Whether you're shooting portraits, nailing a product shot, or even flying your drone, they have got you covered. Lytra enables photographers and filmmakers to focus on their craft and create something beautiful. What will you create?
What would your life be like if you knew Photoshop? Look, you've heard about it your whole life. You know it's like the most incredible tool. I've got a class for you called Photoshop for Beginners. It is made for those people that always wanted to learn it. I narrowed it down to 12 things. These are the 12 things I would be telling a friend. Learn these things in Photoshop and you'll know it. Now from there you can branch off and go crazy, but you got to get this basics down first. So come with me on this class. I'm telling you, you're going to learn mind-blowing things. You're going to learn them quick. You're going to be shocked at how easy it is because we're not learning everything. We're learning 12 important things. Where do you find this class? It's only at Kelby One.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Hey, we are back. Hey, I just saw this comment from Janice. She says, I entered a contest last year with the Alaska Railroad, and I won a free round trip for 2 to anywhere they go, and she is taking it this summer from Anchorage to Fairbanks. How cool is that? All right.
That is awesome.
Also got a comment here from Larry G. Larry says, here's a good, this is his 2022 thing. Update or a look at putting together a portfolio website of your photography. I did not have that on my list, but that is a great one because every photographer
something we should all do.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, I do want to show you something new. So, and this is very exciting. I got a new guitar. Now, I've sold in the last couple of weeks. I've sold 11 guitars. So what's happened is I've run out of room for my guitars, and I told my wife I wanted to buy this one, and she's like, but I thought you were selling guitars. I am, but I had 43 guitars. I'm down to like 32, but I bought this one, so I'm up to 33 now. So this is a crude iPhone.
It's a disease. What are you gonna do?
No, dude, I'm under 40. I'm in the low 30s, and I'm gonna say
you're dealing with it. You're dealing with it.
I am.
It's a slow process.
It is, and I'm selling 20 more. If you want to see any guitars I'm selling, go to reverb.com. So I have a store there called My Wife Told Me to Sell This Stuff, Guitar Shop. That's literally what it's called. I kid you not. It's My Wife Told Me to Sell This Stuff, Guitar Store. But anyway, take a look at here's the shot. So it's a crude iPhone video because I'm going like, what? What's in here? What? No. Yes. It is a Fender Acoustasonic. So it's the body of a Telecaster, but it is an acoustic guitar, which is also an electric guitar. So you can you can make it sound acoustic, or you can make it sound electric, or you can have electric and acoustic at the same time. But it's very lightweight and very thin. You know, like it's not a big old boxy acoustic
That's a cool,
guitar.
just looking guitar too.
Oh yeah, I love the sunburst color on it. I think it's great. So anyway, but I got that. I'm very excited. It's my first new guitar of the year, and I don't think I got a new guitar in the last 2 years because I don't have any room for guitars.
I know, this is the problem. You're going to sell these guitars, and then the disease is going to come back, and you're going to start buying the guitar.
No, I don't have any place to put them. I have them in cases in my closet, and I have some here at the office. I got to get rid of some of these guitars. Anyway, I'm selling them at good prices. People are always thanking me like, "Thanks for doing it at such a fair price." I'm like, I want these out of my life. Okay. So next, I have the next thing on my list. The next thing on my list is, okay, you are going to have a moment in this year where you're going to want to buy some gear. Am I right, Erik? No,
always.
Erik and I are not anti-gear. However, here's a goal. Because can I tell you this? Erik and I have bought many lenses over the years. And when you read about this lens that's super sharp, and you get it, and you go, yeah, this is sharper.
Yeah.
It takes the same picture that it was going to take with your old lens. It's the same scene, it's the same stuff, it's the same lighting, and it might be a little sharper. But essentially, it's the same scene. When you're thinking of buying a new lens this year, instead of buying a new lens or a new piece of gear or a new body that's not probably going to make a difference, if you really want to make better photos, instead of investing in gear, invest in yourself. And what I mean by that is, let's say that you want to be a really good food photographer and you're starting to make some progress. Instead of buying a lens, go hire a food stylist 3 or 4 or 5 times a year to come in and make your food look amazing. Food stylists are hired by professional food photographers. And if you watch an episode we did, what was it, 4 weeks ago?
Yeah,
where we
about
talked
4 weeks
about
ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Where the whole thing was about, food photography and things like that. But we talked about the importance of a stylist. Maybe instead you hire a professional model. Maybe instead of shooting pictures of your cousin who's not very attractive, he's kind of unphotogenic, instead of shooting him, maybe hire a professional model. Right? Hire a professional model to come in.
Yep, get on that plane, go to that awesome landscape.
That was my next one.
Yeah.
Is instead of just going, oh, well, I'm stuck in Orlando, because if you are in Orlando, you're stuck. Just kidding. I love Orlando. So, but if you want to shoot a great landscape, Orlando's not the place. But Utah is, and Arizona is, and there's lots of great places out west that are amazing that people travel from all over the world to go. Instead of buying a piece of gear in 2022, consider investing in your photography, because whatever gear you have is going to take great pictures. If you go there with nothing more than your phone and you have a reasonably new phone, it will take great pictures. Just invest in yourself.
Well, and along those lines, Scott, one of the things you can do to make sharper images and to increase the quality of your gear is to get really good at Photoshop and Lightroom.
That was on my list too. Mine was actually more specific.
Yeah, but that's what really at the end of the day, like getting really good at that, that's the biggest improvement that you're going to have. This lens to that lens, yeah, it'll be a little sharper, like you're talking about.
5%, 10%.
But if you get really good at Photoshop and Lightroom, you will make your images way sharper.
Yeah.
You will make your images way better.
Yeah, the game changer is sharpening. It's
Yeah.
not the lens. Because you can take a lens, and I've told this story, if you guys have heard it before. At my house, I have a very, very large photo, huge, 60 inches. I couldn't even print it at MPix. I had to go to MPix's parent company, Miller's Imaging, to get it printed this large. Giant, big, framed, beautiful picture. And I took it with a lens that if you go and look online, people talk about this lens and they're like, oh, I wouldn't shoot my kid's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese with that lens. Oh, it's soft. It's this, that, the other. But the fact of the matter is I left all my gear in a hotel room in New York City and flew to Italy without my gear. So when I got there, I bought a camera and a lens because I wasn't going to go to Italy for 10 days and not have a camera. And I sold it when I went on eBay and sold it, so I lost a couple $100, but still. Anyway, long story short, people come in my house and they see this giant print taken with that crap lens, and they're like, God, this is so sharp and crisp. I love this. And I go, it's because I sharpened it. It's the sharpening that you do in post is going to level the playing field. If you don't have a super sharp lens, you don't have to have a super sharp lens, because if you know how to sharpen, it is absolutely levels the playing field.
Well, and if you have a super sharp lens and you don't sharpen in post, it'll look like you shot with a cheap lens. Yeah.
You've got to sharpen. You got to do it. It's a must. Okay. Yep. So I'm all about that. The thing that I would say that it was different than what Erik was saying was I imagine that you're using Lightroom, but I know so many Lightroom users who don't use Photoshop. They just don't use it. And so my thing was learn Photoshop, because here's the thing about, and this is why you should learn it. Lightroom is great at making things brighter and darker, adding contrast, fixing the white balance. It's good at the production stuff. But the magic happens in Photoshop. You can do things in Photoshop, including sharpening, that just simply aren't available in Lightroom. Lightroom is a production tool. Photoshop is a creative tool. The sharpening that you can do in Photoshop, the effects that you can do in Photoshop and stuff, it's a different world. So what I would say to you is, if you want a great goal for 2022, make it to learn Photoshop. Now, I'm gonna pimp one of my classes, but one of my classes, I did a class, and I think it's called 7 Photoshop techniques every Lightroom user needs to know. Something like that. It's on Kelby 1. It's either 7 techniques or 10 techniques. And
I think it's 10.
Might be 10.
I could be 10.
But
I'll find out.
But it is based on me assuming you have Lightroom, and Lightroom does all this stuff. Now you got to learn this stuff. I go into layers, I go into selections, I go into filters, which ones you'll use, which ones you don't need, but I don't cover the stuff you can already do in Lightroom. So I've gotten so many great comments on that course. If you want to watch it, you can watch it join Kelby 1 and join for a month and watch it. It's cheap.
Oh, and absolutely, Scott. And that's what I was saying. Like with mine, it was get really good at Photoshop and Lightroom. And for me, the two programs go hand in hand. I'm never living without one. I'm always going to Photoshop to finish images. They're a team.
They were
like if you're just using
together.
Lightroom, like you're stopping halfway.
Yeah.
You're just stopping halfway. You're crippling yourself by just not using Photoshop. Yep. So it's like they're just hand in hand. I mean, there's a reason that the photography bundle from Adobe includes Photoshop and Lightroom. There's a reason.
Okay. So Stuart's got a good comment here. He says, another goal this year. Ooh, this is a good one. Stuart says, another goal this year is to spend more time when I'm shooting instead of rushing through it. I shoot a lot, but usually less variations than I should. So that's a great, Jay Maisel talks about slow down or just stop. Just slow down. It's like we're click, 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 and I want to get around the next corner, hoping that something great's going to be there, where there could be something great right where you are. That's a really good one. Andres asked, Scott, have you had more guitars or cameras in your life? Many more guitars. I have 3 cameras and I only use one of them. No, I have 4 cameras. I have 4 camera bodies, but I only use one of them. So I do have backup cameras and all, but and sports cameras, but I'm not shooting a lot of sports right now. So anyway, what else? Okay, so I do have.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I got one.
You go.
So it's along these lines of what we were just talking about there. Of if you want to, in 2022, you want to get better, and say you're into macro, or say you're into wildlife photography or portrait photography, anything. You want to get really good at it. Know your subject. We spend so much time trying to know our camera gear. We spend so much time trying to know all this other stuff, but we don't spend any time, like, for example, with me, I study how different jets interact with the atmosphere. Like, I study how the planets move and how the solar system, or how our universe moves. Like,
nerd alert.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you're a portrait photographer, you got to start knowing people and how people react. That's like Peter Hurley. The reason he can get emotions out of people, he's a people person. Like, he could just make people do things, right? And that's what it's all about, knowing your subject. Moose Peterson, like, he knows what that animal is going to do. Like, he knows how they're going to move. That's how you get better. I mean, taking the picture is pretty easy. It's the other stuff. And that's where, if you really want to get good at photography, know your subject. Like landscape photography, a lot of landscape photography is studying the weather patterns and when it's going to be ideal conditions, and when the light's going to be perfect, and when the clouds are going to be perfect, and when all this stuff is going to come together. Like, you've got to know that stuff. Yeah. So knowing your subject that you're shooting. And along those lines, I got another one along that with landscape photography that I've started to use in my work of, so Adobe came out with that select subject, right? And we usually use that for like portrait photography or something.
Yep.
But if you're a landscape photographer, start using select subject on your images, not to select the subject, but to figure out if you actually have a subject in your image. And it's
brilliant.
True. No, I've started experimenting with this, Scott. My great Milky Way shots, and I did this as an experiment last week. I was just, messing around with stuff. My great Milky Way shots versus my normal one. If I go into Adobe and hit select subject, guess what? The ones that are really good, that everybody loves and they always thumbs up and like, Adobe, the AI is able to pick up the subject. The ones that are, there's no subject. And that's what it is. Like, so that's where, like, you would think as landscape photography, I don't need select subject. I don't need that. But start using select subject. How many times on the grid do we say, what's the subject here?
Where am I supposed to look?
And you know what? The AI is trying to figure out what your subject, and actually, you know what? The dialog box comes up and basically says, hey, I don't know what the subject is. That's what the AI does. It just comes up and goes, I don't know.
All right.
And that's what you have.
Hey, going back to what you said earlier, you were talking about knowing your subject. So take sports as an example. There are some sports photographers that are really, really great because they know it's third down, and in this particular situation, the quarterback is most likely to throw to this particular receiver. It won't always go to that receiver, but they can lock on to that receiver right off the line. So they're not trying to go, oh, the ball went over here. That receiver leaves and they're with the receiver the whole time. It's a bit risky because if he decides if that receiver's well covered and he throws to somebody else, then you have to zap over. But I'm telling you, some of these guys that really know sports and know the teams they're shooting, that's why it's nice. Like when I shoot the Bucks, I know who the hot receivers are. I know who's most likely to tear off their shirt and walk off field. I know who. Anybody? No? Nobody got that? Okay. Anyway.
I did.
Thank you. So anyway, you know who's most likely to get the ball in a short yardage situation and all. And it makes the difference when you know the subject, when you know what you're photographing. Erik was so on the money. That was such a good one. Hey, we got to take one more break. We're gonna got prizes coming up, and we've got a couple more to wrap up our first show of the year. So stick around. We got some more things coming right up after this break.
Hey everybody, Erik Kuna here, and I want to tell you about my new class over on Kelby1.com. It's about advanced Milky Way post-processing. We're going to go through all the steps you need to know, taking your image from that raw file all the way to a processed final image, right? And we're going to go through dealing with light pollution. We're going to talk about how to nail that white balance and really enhance the Milky Way and enhance the detail in your images. And then those finishing moves to create that dreamy landscape where really the Milky Way and the landscape kind of become one, and that image really pops and has that depth and dimension you want it. We're going to show you noise reduction tools to really enhance those Milky Way shots and wipe out noise. Things like Topaz denoise, On1 no noise, DxO's Deep Prime that really take that noise and just wipe it right out. The other thing we're going to do is show you tools and techniques that I use to speed up my workflow and really make it lightning fast. I'm going to show you how I do it with actions and presets and panels to get done with the image faster so you can get on to creating your next image. So come join me on the journey with my next class over on Kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Hey everybody, we're back. Scott and Erik here. Got some comments. Laurent says, Laurent, probably, I'm sorry. One of my 2022 goals is to spend more time watching Kelby One classes. I love that I can watch them on my TV via my Kelby One app on the Amazon Fire TV. It's also available on the Apple TV. So great, thank you very much. Joseph says, my gym routine is to have Kelby One classes on my phone while I'm on the stepper. There you go. Kirsten says, this is such a great way to start my year. Great ideas, great inspiration, and as always, great humor. I don't know about the humor part. I don't know. Joyce says, I am new to this group and I am loving the tips. Well, thank you, Joyce, and welcome. We're very glad to have you here. So we have a couple last things real quick. I won't spend too much time because we only have 1:31 and we're not going to hit that. Plus, we have to do our giveaways. I would say a great goal for 2022 is to become thoroughly backed up, fully backed up. That means you're backed up locally, like on your desk or on your computer. You're backed up at a different location, like I have one at the office and one here. In fact, I have a Drobo right over here. I don't know if you can see it. See if we can swing around. That's actually my backup Drobo there that I just synced with my home Drobo. There it is. But I am looking for a replacement for Drobo because it doesn't seem like Drobo's in business. I'm not sure. This is just...
I mean, nobody can confirm or deny it.
Yeah, and nobody can get in touch with them. So, and I called them and they've never answered or returned my calls. And they even say on their thing, no one is here to take your call. That's not a good sign. Anyway, they have not had stock of Drobos since 2020. So they have no products to sell. It's kind of like an abandoned website. So I'm looking for another. But anyway, one backup locally, one backup someplace else, a friend's house, parent's house, someplace else, third backup in the cloud. This is the time to do it. You will never think, man, I wish I hadn't backed up. But man, have I got the saddest stories from people who've lost everything. So don't let that happen to you. All right, next. This is my last one. And this is
I got a couple, and then I got a couple.
Okay.
I got a couple
Eric's
I can
okay.
reel.
Go ahead and do yours. I'll save mine for last.
All right. So I got one that's interesting. So we talked about in 2022, we're going through it. Like, start collecting a folder of work of like images that you just say these are epic images. These are great images. Because if you start collecting images that you're like, hey, I really love this work, then you're going to start analyzing those images. And then the next thing I would say is to start critiquing your own work, right? In 2022. And you have a course on that, I believe, on Kelby One, Scott, of how to critique your own work, right?
I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah. So, I mean, critiquing your own work, because really that's who you want to base yourself on is yourself. You don't want to be like, you shouldn't compare. There's no reason to compare your work to other people. I mean, we're always going to do that, but you really want to see progress in your own work. So you got to start critiquing your work over this next year. So go, hey, by the end of the year, was I better than when I started? So critiquing your work as you go through 2022 is something that I would tell people to do. And that's where you have a whole course on that on Kelby One as well. So
there you go. All right. So what else? There is, I got another giveaway. We have some giveaways, but I have a last minute giveaway. So I have a brand new book that just came out. It is my big, thick Lightroom book. It is my I Want to Learn Lightroom from A to Z book. It's called the Lightroom Book for Digital Photographers. For 11 or 12 years, it's been the best-selling Lightroom book in the world. This book is used at colleges and universities around the world as the college textbook where they teach Lightroom. It just came out in print. It is available. It made it for the holidays, unlike my other book. Anyway, it is the Lightroom book for digital photographers, and it is available right now. You can get it at Amazon and all that, but we're going to give one away as well. So if you want to get that book, just drop us a note right now while I'm doing my last thing here, and we'll pick a winner in just a second. You can just call it the printed Lightroom book, and we'll know what you mean. Okay. You said you have two, Erik?
No. Well, I mean, I had one more or two more, but I could just talk to them about real quick.
Yeah, just say.
One is try in 2022 to find a mentor that's another photographer that's better than you. You always want somebody that you're looking up to or able to talk to or able to go out on shoots with that you're aspiring to be like or aspiring to be. It's just going to help you with your photography. You want to be able to achieve something or to grow. So finding a mentor is something to do in 2022. The other thing is to just learn a new genre or learn a new technique. It's amazing how when I start learning a new style of photography, a new genre or technique, how that can improve other things that I've shot in the past, just by bringing in a new technique or a new just genre.
Oh, those are both very good. Yours have been terrific today, Erik.
Oh, thanks.
All right, my last one to wrap things up, and then we've got the giveaways, is if you can, as a goal for 2022, figure out what you want to shoot as a photographer. Do you want to be a food photographer? Do you want to be a travel photographer? Portraits, headshots, people, landscape, weddings, whatever it is. If you can really find out what is it that lights my fire, what is it that I've shot that I really feel like I got a knack for, if you can figure that out and focus on that, your chances for success will go up exponentially. Now, we're all going to shoot everything, right? Sometimes I shoot food, sometimes I shoot products. I'm going to have to go shoot a product here in about 10 minutes because I'm selling my pedal board for my guitars, and it's in that room. I'm going to go So it's in that room, but I'm going to take it in the studio, which is over there. Anyway, but sometimes you wind up shooting whatever. You're in a landscape and you wind up shooting landscapes even though you're a portrait photographer. You're going to shoot everything. But if you can figure out what it is that you want to be, like I want to be this photographer, and you start focusing on that, because it's really hard to be great at everything. It just is. It's so hard to be good at so many things. But if you can put all of that learning energy into learning just wedding or just portraits or just landscape, your chances for success and the quality of what you're going to get is just going to go up exponentially. Instead of looking at just every photo, you can just look at great wedding photographers if you want to be a wedding. You know what I mean? It's like, so that would be, I think, is a really big one. A lot of people, I ask them, what do you shoot? I shoot everything. Well, that's awesome. Me too. But what's your specialty? I don't really have one. Now would be a good time to find one and get really good.
Yeah.
It's too hard to be good at everything. It would be like a race car driver, right? It's like, well, what kind of racing do you do? And they say, I'm a Formula One driver. They don't go, well, I can drive Formula One, I can do NASCAR, I can do stock car, I can do, you know.
But I'm also good at like bicycle.
I'm also good at motocross. I'm also good at, you know, it's like, nope, pick a genre and get really, really good at that. All right. So I kind of a half of one. If you figure out what you want to do, join Kelby One. I'm just going to put it out there. Join Kelby One. I know a lot of you are already members. I know a lot of you watching this are Kelby One members, and I'm very, very grateful. We have got a fantastic year and some incredible courses planned, but we have over 900 full-length courses now. Whatever you're interested in, not only do we have a class on it, but we have a learning track. So if you wanted to be a wedding photographer, we have a class that tracks your progress. It's a set of classes. Watch this first, then this, then this, then this, then this. It's a really great, really neat way. And look, here's some of the ones. These are some of the recent ones that just came out, right? Creative Family Portraits, How to Ignite Your Photography Business, Advanced Milky Way Photography, Masking, the new masking features in Lightroom, a guide to shooting bar mitzvahs, right? And turning your photography into a side hustle, how to make money from your photography. Now those are just the last 6 weeks. A new class comes out every single week, and we've got some killer classes coming out. I mentioned earlier, my class coming out this week is on shooting flash indoors and on location. And we shoot indoors on location. We actually do shoots, but I go through all the equipment and all the gear. And anyway, we have learning tracks, and it's so inexpensive to join. And if you want to buy a class, if you just like, I want to buy it, you can buy it for $29, right? I think it's $29. But if you want to join and just watch everything monthly, get that pro plan. So you're a part of the community, you get Photoshop User Magazine, all the goodies and stuff, but it's 900 courses, and you will love it. You will love it, love it, love it. Our retention rate of people that join is insane. I doubt there's anybody that has a retention rate like we do. But anyway, go check it out. I think you'll love it, and we would love to have you as a member in 2022. It's going to be an epic year for our members, so please come and join us. We would love that. Okay. Who won prizes today? A lot of cool people. Boris Optic Effects goes to AJ Borromeo. Congratulations, AJ. Ken won the travel photography ebook. Michael Buckman won Rick's book. That's the How to Make Money While You're Sleeping. King Bingo won the On One No Noise. The Platypod Twin Back goes to Aaron Ace Selman. By the way, great name. Aaron A. Selman, almost as good as the next name. Margaret Mesa Cortez won the 7-Point System book. And lastly, another 3-namer, it's a good one. The Lightroom Classic book goes to Wendy Weber Patera. So congratulations to all of you. Now, Erik, what do they do to actually get these prizes?
Oh, yeah, it's really easy. All you got to do is email us over at gridprize@kelby1.com. And then we'll verify your information and send you out your prize. So that's it, gridprize@kelby1.com.
It's just that easy. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us for the very first episode of the year. It's very nice to have you here. We greatly value your your time, and thank you for coming and hanging out with us here on the grid. And for those of you who are Kelby One members, thank you for a great 2021. And we look forward to 2022. We got some neat stuff coming up. Also, thanks to all my crew. So we're all work from home except for on grid day. We all have to come into the. There's some people that have to come in, but most of us, look at Erik.
Just working from home
in his palatial estate.
I took down all the gold plating.
He took down the gold plating and the mirrors, the gold leaf, a lot of gold leaf, and big and large
marble everywhere.
Marble
everywhere.
The marble columns. It's really it's great. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Kuna, for joining us. Thanks to all of you and all of our sponsors, all of our crew here, Christina and the crew, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday right here live on the grid. Take care, everybody.